Okay, so what we'll see today, we'll see what exactly the auto scaling is. We already have covered, as I said, we already have covered the load balancer and all the stops. So today we'll see how the auto scale, what is the auto scaling, and then another service being provided by the AWS, right? And we'll see how we can set up the auto scaling and how dynamically we can scale up the servers and how we dynamically we can add the servers in our load balancer. Okay, that is what the topic was being discussed for last couple of times. Like when Sunil was asking how dynamically add the servers into the load balancer, right? After finishing this auto scaling class, right, we'll do that setup and we'll see how the load balancer will get automatically being added the new servers into that. Okay, so let's go ahead and see first what exactly the auto scaling is. So auto scaling is a way to automatically scale up or down the number of compute resources that are being allocated to your application based on its needs at any given time. So guys, I think as most of you are from a different background, I think Amit, Mandar and uh, Abhishek, I think, right? Abhishek not joined today. Tapesh. So, so for you, I think it will be quite tough to understand and work on. So, guys, see, as you are from a different background, you need to be more focused into that and need to by you have to by yourself have to explore more things and attempt to know what exactly it is, and you understand what whenever I say or is the auto scaling is a way to automatically scale up and scale down, you may not understand what exactly the scale up or scale down. Okay, there are few terms which you may not understand. Okay, I'll just go through all these and I will tell you exactly what this mean. Okay, if you still don't understand or if you still if I forget to tell you these terms, then kindly just tell me immediately. Okay, so that I can explain you what exactly that meaning, so you'll understand more details and you can it will help you to learn quickly. Okay, so okay, so what I said, autoscaling is a way to automatically scale up or scale down the number of compute resources that are being allocated to your application, and based on its needs at any given time. So when your application will be running on a server, your application could be anything, whether it will be e-commerce application or healthcare application or trading app or whatever app. Based on the applications, you need some kind of compute resources. You need some storage, you need some memory, you need some processor, you need some CPU power. All these things you need, right? What will happen if your application is installed and sometimes you are exhausted the number of memories or resources, and you immediately need to add more memory, more CPU powers to your server so that your application can respond properly. So what you can do, you can either manually add it up by shutting down the server, or you can use the auto scaling to automatically scale up. Like scale up means automatically add more resources to your server for the application to run. Scale down means to remove the extra resources from the server. Scale up to add more resources, scale down to remove the unwanted or unnecessary resources from your server. Okay, so I'll explain you further when to use for scale up, when to go for scale down. Okay, so that time we'll explain further in the slides. Okay, and what it does, it helps you to ensure that you have the correct number of emission EC2 instances available to handle the load for your application. Auto scaling will automatically, and it ensures that you have the correct number of EC2 instances available at all the time to handle your load for your applications. Okay, so there are few key few terms available in this auto scaling. This is what this auto scaling being used for, and we have actually two types of auto scaling. One is the vertical auto scaling, one is the horizontal auto scaling. Okay, when we say vertical auto scaling, the term scale up and scale down comes. The vertically, we are vertically or scaling up our resources. Vertically means scale up and scale down, and if you are scale in and scale out will be your horizontally scaling. Vertical scaling, horizontal scaling. When we talk about horizontal scaling, that means you are going to add a new server or add a new machine to your application group. Okay, where your application running, you might be adding one more server because your server is not capable of handling the request. You could add similar another server into that, so you can scale in. Okay, if you don't need that server to be there, you can scale out that server. Scale in, scale out, scale up, scale down. Scale up, scale down is the vertical scaling. Scale in, scale down will be your horizontal scaling. Okay, remember these two terms. Now there will be few key terms available with respect to your auto scaling, like few components. Those auto scaling components will be your groups. Okay, groups will be your what you say, configuration template or launch template. We already have talked about these templates, right? Already have a launch template, how to create the template to launch any instance and all, then scaling options and all. So let's first see the first component. What is a group? The group is EC2 instances are organized into a group so that they can be treated as a logical unit for the purpose of scaling and management. When you create a group, you can specify its minimum, maximum, and desired number of EC2 instances. If you see the diagram here in the right hand side, we have set up a scaling group, and in that scaling group we have to specify the number of instances you need to be scale in or scale out based on your requirement. It will be a logical unit. It's a group where you are setting up your minimum size, desired size, and the maximum size. So the desired capacity or desired size you need, suppose 2, and minimum is 1, and maximum you could set up to 4 or 5 as per the diagram it is given. It's just a diagram to demonstrate within the 4 servers, 4 resources, you could take it maximum 10, 20, whatever you need based on your application size, right? So the auto scaling group we have to set up. So this is just a overview on that. When we start working the lab classes, you will clearly understand. Okay, so when we create a group, you can specify a minimum, maximum, and desired number of EC2 instances we need. So group is an organized EC2 instances are organized into groups so that they can be treated as a logical unit. Whatever you need, you have to put into a group, and group can be used to create the auto scaling components. Now the template, launch template, we already know that is kind of instruction setups, like what you need, what type of instances do you need to be created. So you have to configure a template. So groups uses the launch template to launch configuration template for its EC2 instances. So we can specify the information such as the AMI, instance type, the key pair, security group, like what we already have done in our launch instance template. Okay, launch template. We already have seen setting up the image, setting up the instance type, key pair, security group, whatever things, and snapshot, right? Whatever things we already have covered, that things we are going to create it as part of the launch template. So that launch template will be used to scale up or scale down or scale in or scale out options. Okay, this is mandatory to be created. Now the scaling option, it has various scaling options, around 5 scaling options available. So we'll see the scaling options, each details what are the scaling options available. Okay, so the scaling options will be like maintain current instance levels at all time, scale manually, scale based on a schedule, scale based on a demand, and use predictive scaling. Okay, now let's see what is this maintain current instance levels at all times. What does this mean? Means whenever you are 100% sure that your application is required for high availability and all, your application is required to be run on 4 servers. So we always will maintain that 4 servers will always be available to serve the request coming from the customer or serve the traffic whatever we are getting from the internet. We'll have all the time 4 instances available. So what it says, we can configure our autoscaling group to maintain a specified number of running instances at all times. Okay, and to maintain the current instance levels, Amazon EC2 Autoscaling performs a periodic health check on the running instances within an autoscaling group. So whatever the groups we have created, right, and in the group what number of instances have been set off. So autoscaling, what it does a periodic health check on each server, periodic health check on each server. If it finds any issues or any trouble within the EC2 instances, or the EC2 instance is unhealthy, it will terminate and create or launch a new instance at part of that. Suppose we have 4 instances and the autoscaling health check finds the wave 3 server is down, is having some issues. What it will do, it will terminate this and create another server in front of that. So it will have all the time 4 servers available. Even though we terminate one server, it will automatically create another server, so that to maintain the label 4 all the time. This is the manually you have to set up. Okay, the other one is scale manually. This one also part of the manual task, you have to set up the manually. And the other one is the scale manually, where you are going to manually scale, even though you say manually, but it will be automatically by being done by the autoscaling group. The name is manually, is being to manually set up the configurations, not the autoscaling. Okay, so what will happen here? Let me just give a. So manual scaling is the most basic way to scale your resources, where you specify only the change in the maximum, minimum and desired capacity of your autoscaling group. Suppose you need your desired setup, like we need 3 is our desired, and minimum required suppose 2 or 1. You can set up minimum and desired 3. And in case there is a requirement like you got to be added more resources or more instances, you can just simply add more instances into that. Automatically it will be added, 5 instances added. And if your demand is decreases, or if you don't need anything and if you want to remove it, the maximum size you can reduce to 4, or you can reduce even 3. That manually you can set up. I'll show you how we can do manually, and then how we can do everything in automatic way also. Okay, that is what the scale manually. And we have options of various other options like scale based on a schedule. Scale based on a schedule. That is means the scaling by schedule means that scaling actions are performed automatically as a function of time and date. This is useful when you know exactly when to increase or decrease the number of instances in your group. When you already know, by using the applications, and when you already know when you need extra servers to be added, when you need extra servers to be added, and when you need extra servers to be removed, and you know that exactly the day and time. Suppose think about I'm just giving one real-time example of the e-commerce site. So mostly people prefer to do shopping on weekends, right? Saturday, Sunday, they'll be sitting at home and searching the mobile applications and looking for that site like Amazon or Flipkart to buy something. What will happen if your application is an e-commerce application, and you know that exactly this particular weekend, Saturday this time until Sunday this time, my server is getting overloaded and I'm getting more spike in my server, the network traffic increases. So what you need that time, you need extra resources to be added to handle the customer request. So what you can do, you can schedule it at particular time, automatically the servers to be added, and Saturday Sunday the servers will be there, and Sunday morning you don't need the servers to be unnecessary there. So that what you can do, you can set out to remove that also. So what will happen, you will use the extra servers from Saturday to Sunday 2 days, and you have to pay extra money for that 2 days only, and the rest of the days the servers will not be available there, so you don't have to pay for that. So it is very intelligent. But in case of this maintain all the time, even though you have customer coming or not, you are maintaining 4 servers all the time there, right? Either 4, 5, 10, whatever, it's up to your requirement, whatever you have set up. And unnecessary you are paying extra money for those servers which are not being used, right? And that's why this based on schedule is little intelligent. It is more intelligent, like you can schedule as per your need. You don't have to pay extra money for that, for the compute resources which you don't use it, right? Similarly, we have other options called scale based on the demand. This is again more intelligent than this schedule one. What it will do, it automatically will add the servers, the instances based on the demand. So the demand will be automatically calculated based on the network traffic, based on the CPU utilization, based on the users, all these things it will be automatically calculated by the autoscaling group, and it will create. So what it says, it is a more advanced way to scale your resources using scaling policies. If you have a web application that currently run on 2 instances and you want the CPU utilization of the autoscaling group to stay at around 50%, when the load on the application changes, this method is useful to scaling in response to changing the condition when you don't know when those conditions will change. That means you never know when you get more customers or more load to your servers. You don't know. For in case of schedule, what happens, you already know where and when you get more customers or more load at what specific time, you already know, then you set off accordingly. But in this case you don't know what time it get increases, so you can just do setup and forget. It is a more advanced way. You don't have to take headache to do the setup based on the time and all. Automatically based on the demand it will scale up and scale down. Similarly, there is more advanced way. There is one more scaling option, that is called predictive scaling. So predictive scaling, it uses actually artificial intelligence machine learning to predict the future and then scale up and scale down based on the predictions. So how the predictions happens, like, so again, machine learning, artificially, everything works on based on the data, right? If you don't have data, then it will not work. So the predictions will happen based on the data. And suppose some kind of festivals there, suppose in Deepavali or in Holi or in Durga Puja or in Ramjan, okay, Idul Fitr, what will happen, there are that time more customers approaches to your site to purchase. So I'm only talking about e-commerce. Same things can be happen in the e-trading sites also, okay? And the particular time, particular morning, suppose 8 a.m. the trading opens, right? Morning 8 a.m. the trading opens. From 8 a.m. to till 5 p.m. the trading window will be there, and more people will do trading at that time. And you can set off the things to be manually, or you can do the schedule. You can schedule it to add more servers there. And if you don't know, sometimes there will be some shares which will be in high demand and it will be increased at any time. So you don't know what time it will be increased, and you can set off based on the demand. If there is a heavy demand to your trading applications at this particular time, and it will be automatically taken care by this policy or these options called scale based on demand. And the predictions, like it just predict what will happen based on the data and set up the auto scaling group to create scale in and scale out the instances. Okay, so this is how, these are the options and we are going to learn. So whatever the things I told you, just think what is auto scaling and how theoretically it works. But now we'll go ahead and set off the complete auto scaling in our EC2, in our AWS console. Okay, so let me just log into this AWS console. Okay, and so what I need, let me just stop this server which is not required. Always stop the server whichever is not required, unnecessary. Suppose you don't know how many servers is running in stop state. Sometimes what will happen, you have to pay more extra monies for that. And also, if you even don't pay for that, but respect the AWS because they are giving free entirely, right? Even though you are using it and not paying for that, it will be overloaded their infrastructure, because we are renting the server from their infrastructure, right, from their data center, and it will be overloaded. Similarly, crores of, right, millions of people will be using AWS, and suppose million servers are open, we are not paying anything unnecessary. They will be using their data center, they will be using electricity, they will be using storage, they will be using people and all. So we respect their service also, right? So better to stop if you don't need it. So I'll stop it. It was, this server was created today morning for previous batch. Okay, fine. So it is stopped now. What I need, first go to your EC2 dashboard. Okay, because our auto scaling options will be available under this EC2 dashboard. So if you go down here below, we'll have this auto scaling options available. We already have covered this load balancing, right? I hope you guys have practiced this load balancing. If you have not done yet, please do it now, so that you'll remember, or else it will be difficult again for auto scaling group as well. Okay, so for auto scaling, what do we need? First, we need to create the launch template or launch configurations. Okay, go to here to use for the launch configuration. Okay, and for this launch configurations, what we need, simply we can click on this create launch configuration to create the template. But I already have these templates being used as part of our previous classes. Either what you can do, either you can go ahead and click here to launch the new template and create the new template, or else you can use this option to create the new template as well. Launch template, create launch configuration and launch template, the same way to do that. So if I go this launch template here, we'll already have this launch template from our previous classes. You remember we had created the launch template to launch the instances. Okay, so we have these templates available now. Now for you, I'll just go ahead and create the template again. Okay, so what we'll do here, let me fetch the user data sections, because user data sections I am going to, is there any user data? No, I don't have the user data. Let me copy the user data from advanced details. Okay, okay, so this is the user data I need to be added to my, so let me copy it. Let me quickly go ahead and create one more template. Okay, so hope you remember it. If you don't know, that's fine. So create launch template quickly. Okay, I could have used the existing template, but still I'm going to use that template. I can say it as my ASG, okay, my auto scaling group template, my ASG template. I can give my ASG template here. This I can say dev 1.1 template tag. Okay, add a tag. step server. Okay, a source template, if you want to source from the existing template, you can do it. Already I have told you. And this is the most crucial part, launch template content here. So you have to check the image, whatever the image ID, AMI ID you want to use it. So I'll go with Amazon Linux, choose the free tier one. So I'm going to use Amazon Linux 2, which falls under free tier. Okay, and 64-bit architecture. Instance type, obviously I'll go with free tier T2 micro. Now the key pair, this is what we have to set up. Now done. Network setting, I'm going to use the default one. Okay, security group, make sure to provide the security group which will have whitelisted the port number 80 and 22, because I'm going to demonstrate the install the Apache server which runs on port number 80. Okay, advanced network configuration, don't want to touch anything, and the EBS volume I'm going to get it the default one 8 GB, and resource tag, just give a name to the resource tag, and this will be the name of your instances. Okay, so suppose I'll give here. Okay, leave it. I don't need this is optional. If you want to give the resource tag, you can give it. I don't need it, suppose. Now go with advanced details. In the advanced details section, we'll have lot more other options which we already know. Let it be everything default. I don't need to do that now. Let's go ahead and in the user data sections paste the things which I had copied. I need to be installed as soon as part of this template. I need to install and deploy the software here. Okay, now let's go ahead, create the launch template. Okay, so we have only one version of template is now added, and it is T2 micro. Anything I left, why it is not creating? What happened? Okay, as I opened this resource tag, that's why it is showing the error. I close this resource tag now, create launch template. So launch template is working now. View launch template, it will have created another template here. So I created another template, it's called my ESG as part our auto scaling demo. Okay, now let's go ahead and create the group. That is the important things, and you can see here Amazon EC2 auto scaling group are there. And remember guys, you don't have to pay any extra fees or extra charges for auto scaling group creating auto scaling. What it says, Amazon EC2 auto scaling features have no additional fees beyond the service fees for Amazon EC2. Here is the trick actually. So we are not going to, they are not going to charge for auto scaling group. However, the number of EC2 instances you create, they will charge you. Okay, that is the tricky here. Okay, now these are the options available. What are the benefits? You will get it: fault tolerance, availability, and the cost management. This is most important, this availability and the cost management. Means availability means we ensure that our application will be available 100% all the time, always has the right amount of capacity to handle the current traffic demand, right? That means will be available all the time. Cost management, because if you see the diagram or see the things, right, if you keep the maintain the current labels at all the time, what will happen? You unnecessary paying extra money for the server which you don't use. For using this auto scaling options, we can do very good cost management. We can save money by dynamically launching the instances. Okay, so let's see how we can do the setups to dynamically launch the servers. Okay, now go ahead and create the auto scaling group. Give a name to the auto scaling group here. Suppose I'll give my ESG. Okay, so just give a name to it. I just gave my ESG, and a launch template. select the template based in your, there could be hundreds of templates available, there could be 100 in real time, in your real time organization, in your production, in your company, there could be multiple 100 types of template, and you have to choose the template which will be used for your application, whatever, for what application you are going to create the auto scaling group, you have to make sure that template you are choosing. Okay, suppose I am choosing this template and it has a default version 1. You can see all the details, AMI ID and launch template and security group, everything is added. Go ahead and click next. The network, so I'll use go with the default network. Okay, availability zone, select minimum 2. Okay, I selected 1A 1B availability zones. Instance types, override the launch template. If you feel that instance type we don't need T2 micro and I may need T2 nano or T2 medium or M4 X large, whatever you need, you can just change by clicking on this override launch template. Okay, now go ahead and click next. Here, this load balancer options, that is what Sunil was asking all the time, how dynamically add. We'll see these things little later. First set of the auto scaling group, then we'll see, we'll come back to adding this load balancer. Okay, now do the health check. First we'll go with no load balancer, then we'll go with attaching a load balancer. Okay, now we'll go with the health check here. So as I told, auto scaling group always, auto scaling options always does the health check to make sure we have all the time have all the required servers available, right? So the health checks, we are going based on the EC2 instances. We have ELB also, so when we use the ELB, that time we'll select it here. So now we are going to choose the EC2. 300 seconds every interval you will check. Additional settings, I don't need it, leave it. Next. So here is the group size, like how many. Specify the size of auto scaling group by changing the desired capacity. You can also specify minimum and maximum capacity. Suppose minimum I need desired I need 2, minimum 1, maximum suppose I give 5. Okay, so what will happen, or desired I can give 3, minimum give 2, minimum give 2. Okay, so it will just get create. Now scaling policies, I'm not doing it now. Scaling policies I'll show you, just first creating that, how to add the policies, different policies in the auto scaling. The next demo I'll show you. So scale in protections, I don't need it for scale in protection, it will extra charge it, so I'm leaving it now. Next. Okay, this add notification, this add notification is very much important to do that. What it do, it will send notifications to your administrator group or your project group or application group in case any EC2 terminated, EC2 launched, or EC2 application stopped or anything, it will send you notification. It is very easy to add it. You have to simply add the SNS topics. So we have another service called SNS, that is simple notification service provided by AWS or Amazon. So we'll see how to create that one, but not now, in our other service classes with SNS, but I'll show you how to do that now. Add notification, click on, and here the notifications you should have created topics. Okay, first you have to create a topic. Now you can simply create a topic by clicking this. Just give a notifications name with this recipient. Remember, you have to register the email ID with the SNS service before using this topic. Actually, I don't have anything registered. I'm not going to show you anything because the email will not go. If you already have registered the email address, you can provide the email address and it will send the notifications to the specific email addresses. It is very easy. Just give a name, add the email address, that's all. Okay, so what it will do, these are the event types. Based on the launch event, terminate event, fail to launch or fail to terminate, it will send email to your email ID. It's quite easy, okay, to set up the notifications. That's all. Remove it, I don't know to add it. So once you add this one, fine, go ahead and next. Add a tag. Suppose I'll give a name. This tag will be part of the servers, so I'll give like ASG server. These servers will be created as per the ASC. So I gave the name as ASC server. Go ahead and click next. Just overview. Okay, just review whatever things are there. Create auto scaling group. So what will happen now? You can see here it updating the capacity. We need desired 3, minimum 2, maximum 5, but none of the instances is created now, 0. So what it will do, as soon as we create the group, the number of the desired capacity we have specified, it will create the same amount of instances for us. Now if I go to the EC2 instances section, we'll see 3 servers will be created as part of the auto scaling group. See, we have 3 servers, ASD server 1, 2, 3. It's running. All these 3 servers created as part of our auto scaling group. As part of our auto scaling group. Okay, so if I go here and check the auto scaling group again, we'll have, refresh it, we'll have 3 instances now created. So 3 instances, our desired capacity is we need 3 instances, so we have this 3 instances available. Okay, now what we'll do, we can just simply, I selected here, you can get all the informations related to the auto scaling here. Okay, click on this, you'll find bigger window, desired capacity, launch template, whatever networks, everything is set up now. Okay, so what we saw here, when we created the auto scaling group, it created immediately 3 servers for us. It created immediately 3 servers for us. So what means it is, like we have desired capacity is 3. That means our auto scaling group now makes sure that we have 3 desired servers running all the time. If something happened to one of the server, what will happen if I terminate? Suppose if I terminate, okay, before doing that, let me see the servers, whatever is installed here. Okay, now if I go here and check the servers, our application will be running. See, just put, see, our application is running. That means all these instances, whatever is created, all the instances, whatever is created as per the auto scaling group, have the same applications being running. So that means we have now our application which is highly available. Okay, any server is goes down, our application will still be available. Okay, so all 3 instances will have the applications running. Okay, so now let me go to the other one. So see, 1, 2, 3, all the servers are running. So what will happen if in case or any box detector or anything and the server is underwent or went down or it terminated? Suppose let me terminate a server now. What will happen if I terminate a server? What will happen, guys? So Mandar or Tapesh, Amit, what will happen now?
It will create the one new
It will create one more.
as per design.
Exactly. So as per the desired capacity, it will create immediately one more server. Okay. So it will not allow you to run beyond 3. Okay. So it will be always 3. Now see, it is shutting down. So let it stop the best. So what it will do in the backend, the auto scaling options and all, they are doing a health check, right? So it will find like one of the server is down or one of the server is terminated. So what it will do, it will automatically kickstart another server on that place. Okay, just refresh this page. It's still shutting down, it is still not terminated. Okay, just wait. Okay, now we can see here immediately another server has come up. Immediately another server has come up with the same configurations, with the same template whatever being used, with the same template whatever is being used. Okay, now just refresh it, it will be now running. So this one will be now running, right? So if I get this public IP here and let's refresh, this will be running, this will be down, I think. Yeah, because this is the one I terminated, right? Now leave this one, go ahead and paste the IP address here. Good. So it is still processing, right? That's why it is not reflecting. The server has not yet been created. Still initializing, right? Still initializing. Just wait for a few seconds, let it complete initialization and our server will be back. Okay, I hope it should be back now. Okay, still it is not there. It's just installing the softwares, installing and deploying the softwares. Okay, now it is. So it has come up now. The software initialization has finished and we can now, 3 servers are back, 3 applications are back now. Okay, so this is how we can maintain all the time this one. Now how we can add extra policies there, how we can add extra policy there also. I'll show you a real-time example, also real-time project, just after this policies. Okay, so how we'll add extra policies there, options, different scaling options, right? I had left while creating the group. Now I'll show you how we'll do it. Just go back here and we can see here the automatic scaling options here, right? Automatic scaling, click on this and we'll have these scaling policies available: dynamic scaling policies, predictive scaling policies, scheduled options and all. If you want to dynamically scale, you can just create on this dynamically scaling options. So target tracking scaling and scaling option you can give it. What is that? Metric types you can give us like average CPU utilization or average network in bytes. If the average CPU utilization is target 50%, it beyond more than 50%, so what it will do, it will create immediately another instances for you. If all the 3 servers has gone beyond 50% of usage of the CPUs, what will happen, it will create another, the maximum number of we have set up as 5, right? So it will create another machine there, it will scale in one more, right? So you can use the dynamic scale. I'm not going to use it because it will unnecessarily cost more, and also I cannot use the CPU because these are the blank servers. I cannot put all the 3 servers in CPU utilizations more than 50%. Okay, so and you understand how dynamically it's very simple to set up the dynamic options here. Now to set up the predictive and set up the scheduled, similar way you have to create on the scheduled option here and same name, and here the scheduled one you have to give the desired minimum, maximum and the recurrence once. That means you know when exactly you need a spike in your server, once or every 5 minutes or every weekdays or weekend or once, like that you can set off. And the time also, what specific time you want the server to start, you can specify here. Okay, and then create, it will create one. So now done. And the predictive scaling options you have to set, and it again based on your data it works. Okay, the metrics you can set off CPU metrics and additional settings like pre-launch instances, how many times it will be, like before starting warm up will happen, and the traffic to handle everything you can do the setup in the predictions. Okay, scale based on forecast. If you switched off, predictive scaling will only forecast capacity and not take any scaling action. Okay, so you have to make it on to see the forecast. Based on the forecast it will do that. Okay, so now just cancel it. So all these options you know how to use it, and you should know while going to the interview what are these options being used for. Okay, so now we are clear on this. Now let me tell you one real-time things. So today, one of my previous batches, already I have completed autoscaling for them. So he was asking a question like how I'll upgrade the applications in the autoscaling group, right? So can any one of you answer how I can upgrade the, because see, these are all are the applications running, right? Same application. I want to redeploy or upgrade the redeploy the applications, right? How I'll do that in auto scaling group?
Maybe if you have a template or something, you can create three other EC2 instances and add it to the group and remove the existing one. Could be a possibility.
Exactly, same way we have to do it. So we have to update the template. Okay, so we have to update the template here. Now how, let me show you the real time how we can do it. Just go to the template here. Okay, now I'll just update the template with a newer version. Suppose this mysc. Okay, now let's modify this template action, create, modify the template. I'm just modifying the user data section only to deploy new application. Okay, so just advanced details here, and I'll just add a new line here. Let me just add a new line here. It's called newer version. Okay, something called newer version here. Simply create the template version. So as soon as I click on the create template version, it will create a new version, right? Version 2. So my ASC template is now having two versions. So what will happen here? So my template is updated, right? Now I have two applications running here. Suppose I'll go ahead and terminate this instance with whichever is created just now. Let's see. Uh, Suppose I terminate this instance IP address is 0.3, 15.2153, right? This middle one. Let me terminate this. What will happen? And this is having currently this application. This is currently having this application. Okay. Now if I go ahead and terminate it. So what will happen? It will be terminated, and on the on its place it will be another new server created, right? And that server will have our new application available. Okay, so similarly to upgrade to the all the three server, you have to terminate and just terminate the server, so it automatically created with the newer template, right? It will be automatically create with the newer template. Again, we already have done the mistakes here. It will not upgrade. Why? It will create, obviously it will create one more EC2 instances, but it will not upgrade. It will not, the new instance will not update. Okay, let's see what is happening. Okay, and just think why it will not update. So it is terminated, and within few seconds one server should come up now. Okay, so it is still waiting to complete. Okay, oops, it's taking time to come up. Just wait for a few seconds. Meantime, you just think why did not, what would have happened. Okay, it has started now in pending status. Okay, just wait for it. So our this one, as I have terminated, will not be available. It will be still moving and moving, and then it will fail with timed out error. Okay, so let me close this one, and so it is just initializing here, and get the public IP quickly. So get the public IP here, put it here, hit enter. Okay, still it is not initialized properly. Just wait for a few more seconds. Okay, just wait for a few more seconds here. Our server would have the what we need to be upgraded to the newer version, but still it will have the older versions. But why? Sorry. Think where we did mistakes and where anything else we have to do to get this. Okay, see, it came off with the older one. We updated our template with newer deployment, newer code, but it did not reflect it here. It's because we did not update our auto scaling group. What we updated only template, but our auto scaling group is using still version 1 of the template. We have to update in the auto scaling group as well, right? In the auto scaling group we have to update the version, which version of template. See, if you see here, you can see launch template, it is still using version 1, dev 1.1 default version. We need version 2 to be installed or to be used. Okay, so edit it, use the launch template here. Okay, so my ESG, yes, and version 2. Got it? Now update. So what will happen now? It will see, it will be just updating. The status will be updating here. Everything is updated, I think. Okay, successfully updated. Let's go ahead and check the instances. It is running. Okay, refresh the page. Everything is okay. All are fine. All servers are running, right? Just wait for a few seconds and terminate one of the server. Suppose this 242.69, this server. Okay, let me terminate it. Okay, after this one we'll just see how the load balancer also we can add it. Okay, let me show you this demonstration. Okay, this is now terminating, and what it will do, it will automatically create another one with a newer version of the template, with the newer version of the template. Okay, this one will be now out of dated, it is gone, so this IP is no more available. So you can go ahead, refresh it, and just wait for few seconds to come up again. So terminated. I know it is taking quite a little time because the servers will take to warm up and all to come up. It will take some time, right? So just wait and refresh this page. Okay, so it has now come up and started running, but it is still initializing it. Okay, just wait for another few seconds and until the server is installed in the backend and the application is installed or deployed. Okay, so until the application is deployed, just wait for a few more seconds. Okay, let's get the IP addresses. That's a bit better. Go ahead and use it. Okay, still it has not come off. Still initialization is in progress. See, now our auto scaling has, now see how the deployment happens. Now this server is having the newer version, and these are the older version because it was created as per the old template. If you want to upgrade this also, you have to terminate, and just terminate, and auto scaling group will create immediately another two. So your application will be, so don't terminate all the three all the time. So what will happen if I try to terminate all the three, or suppose I will terminate this two? What will happen? Terminate. Okay, terminate. Let's slow down. Successfully terminated. So what it will do, it will create another two, and the new server will be deployed here. Okay, in these two machines, new server will be deployed as part of the new template. Okay, now this is, you understand how it works. And never ever try to delete all the three if you are going to upgrade, and this is never happen in the productions, because we do one after another, because one already up the newer version, then we'll terminate the other older version, and then make sure that also come up with the newer versions. Okay, this is how we have to do it. Now the auto scaling part is over, and we see how it works with the different policies and all. Now let's see how dynamically we can add the servers, how dynamically we can add the servers into our load balancer. Okay, so to do that, we have to go to our auto scaling group. Okay, go to our auto scaling group. Before that, we should have the load balancer available, right? Let's quickly create the load balancer. First go to the target group, and going to quickly create the load balancers here. You know how to create it. Go to the target group first and create a group. What you need, okay, creating this load balancer is quite simple. So I'll go with instances and all, and just give a target group name. I can give my LB, group. Okay. Something I gave HTTP protocols and all. Health check should be same, and install everything. I'm not going to change anything. Simply go ahead and create quickly. Okay. Next, so my auto scaling group is created now. Okay, but I'm not going to, here available instances. See, as soon as I created, what happens, it finds the available instances. I did not add anything, it's just I'm not going to add or anything here. Okay, simply I just created the group. I'm not going to register it manually, so I'm not going to register it manually. Okay, just create the target. I just simply created the target group. Everything, all the rest of the things, registration and all the things will be taken care by the auto scaling group. I'll show you how. Okay, so I just created the target group, nothing I did. Now I'll create the load balancer. Now I'll create the load balancer here. Go to the load balancer. Okay, I'll just it's taking time. Just create load balancer here. Go with application load balancer. Here just give us my LB. Just give a name to that. Okay, and the rest of the things I'm just keeping as it is. I'm not changing anything else. Selecting two availability zone here, 1A and what happened here? 1A, 1B. Okay, I selected two. Now security group, let's select the lamp one where is having the 80 is available, removing the default one and the listener, and here just select target group, my LB group. I selected the target. I'm attaching the target group to the load balancer, right? And all these things are fine, good, and the same. I'm not going to change anything else. Go ahead and create load balancer. So our load balancer is now created. Okay, our load balancer is now created. Just wait for a few seconds from provisioning to active, it to come to from provisioning to active, then we can view this. Okay, so our load balancer is having now this DNS name, right? Just refresh it and make sure it is active. It will take a few seconds to active the load balancer. Okay, and if I go to the targets now, target group, we'll see the target group is now associated with the load balancer. Okay, it is associated with the load balancer MyALB, and if we click this one, we'll have no servers registered yet. We'll have no servers registered. So registered targets, nothing, no servers are registered. So we are going to dynamically add it. Okay, nothing is added here. So let's go to the load balancer and check whether it is active. No, it's still provisioning. Okay, now if I get this DNS name and put it here, it should give me the application details, right? As there are no servers added, it says 503 service temporarily unavailable. So that means our applications is not hosted here, or is not redirecting any traffic to any of the server. So how will add it? Let's go to our now our I think the provisioning from provisioning to active. Okay, now it is active. Even though we refresh it, will not get anything because none of the server is attached to the registered with the load balancer. Now let me go to the auto scaling group. Okay, click on this one and we'll see here in this details, will go down and we'll have one load balancing here option, right? Click on this and we can choose the load balancer. Click on this application load balancer, select the target group. I have this ALB group. Okay, now update, simply update it. Updated. Okay, now go ahead, load balancer group is added. Do the health check, it is only EC2 is there, so I'll add ELB also, elastic load balancer. Update it. Both health check is done now, both EC2 and ELB. Okay, EC2 and ELB, and I added the load balancer here. Okay, so if I go now to the load balancer target group, we'll see now the two target groups, the two servers will be registering. If I click on this, we'll see it is now in the targets, no registered targets. Okay, just refresh this one. See, automatically 3 targets are registered. I did not register anything. I simply added the load balancer to our auto scaling group and it automatically did the health check. We have this 3 health check and everything. Now if I do and refresh this page, our application will be running. See, our application, all these are newer versions, right? Because I terminated and recreated. Okay, this will be not there because I have terminated the machines. Now you can see my load balancer is having the applications. And if suppose tomorrow the demand increases and it will be add one new service to the auto scaling group. what will happen? Automatically that will be registered here also. Automatically that server will be registered here also. Now you understood how dynamically we can add in our load balancer, servers in our load balancer. So it's all clear guys about load balancing and about auto scaling. If you have any doubt, we can discuss now, or else we can wind up this call for today. And before doing, make sure that you delete whatever things you have created. I'm going to delete everything now, otherwise it will charge me. Okay.